Waiting on this technology. Gotta love it, guys. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are trying to get everything started. We're getting ready to start the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be talking about scaling your business. I was trying to get the intro going, so it is going to come up right now, and we'll be right back with a few words. Welcome to Real Life Without Excuses. I am America's Supermom. Yeah, I love how we had our own fall festival. Whenever,
oh yeah,
that was just too funny. That was fun.
Recognize who you are, what you'd like to see in your life, and who you'd like to partner with.
I love that, and that's coming from a place of power.
She makes. I have written with women who have been through things I could not even imagine. You can tell the old story. Don't dwell on the old story because most of your friends are not trauma counselors.
Awesome. Gotta love technology, y'all. I don't know what's going on.
I know
And
I can't find it. I can't
savvy.
find it in
Okay.
LinkedIn. I'm like, is it live in LinkedIn? Because I don't see it.
Oh, now Paul is on, so I don't know. You know what? Just want to say this is the joys of real life. You just got to keep it moving. So we're excited to be here today. And I think maybe this is happening for a reason because we're talking about scaling our businesses. And boy, can that be a crazy, frustrating, overwhelming type of thing to discuss. And I think for a couple of my guests, that they've had to reschedule. Things were going on kind of crazy, but a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's not my expertise. I don't even want to talk about it." You know what I mean? That's not a topic for me. But I think that there really is no expert way of doing it when we're thinking about scaling our business. It is just something that you're kind of. I always say, I'm building the plane while I'm flying because you never really just have that perfect time. It's just like having kids. Oh, I think I'll have a baby today. You know what I mean? You just never know what's going to happen. So we're excited for you guys to join us today. And this is really what life is about, making sure you're aligned with the right people that know how to just roll with it when things get a little crazy. So I'm excited to be here today and with my co-host, but I am LaChelle, also known as America's Supermom. And my passion is really helping people navigate through chaos. Having the opportunity to laugh at yourself and say, hey, you know what? This happens. We're not the only ones, but we just have to keep it moving. So I like to show you how to transform chaos into clarity and confidence with a smile. So when we think about scaling our business, thinking about chaos, frustration, I still got 10 kids at home. So I think I'm gonna leave it there to let you know about the chaos and frustration that can happen with 10 kids under one roof. So over to you, Raschell. So glad to see you today and excited for today's conversation.
Absolutely. It should be a good one. I really think so.
So my name is Raschell Harlingten. I'm located in Toronto, Canada, and I am the CEO and founder of Roots for Success, our company that supports people in transforming their lives, really supporting what goes in their blueprint, understanding that they are the creator of their reality. I'm also a podcast host of the Transformational Soul Talks, where I get to share your stories, because we all have a story. And our stories are so important because they help us shift, change the trajectory of our lives, and really support others in sharing and, unfolding their lives and listening to our stories to make those changes. So over to you, Misty.
You're muted. Oh, you can't get off mute? Oh, well, it probably will work here shortly. What about now? Try it again. Still can't hear anything. Okay. Well, the joys of being she's going to go out and come back, but I'm excited about this topic. We have some great guests that are going to be here with us talking about scaling our business. So, when you're thinking about scaling your business, what really comes up for you, Raschell? You're muted.
I'm muted. There we go. We're all muted and we forgot to unmute ourselves. There we go. I got it. For me, scaling my business, I think really is having consistency, that consistency of getting up every day and saying, how can I take my business to the next level? And making sure that I'm taking a step in the right direction every day. So, and sometimes it's not going to be the way I want it. And some days it's going to go a little sideways, but making the progress. So at the end of the week, I can say, okay, what did I achieve? How did I scale? What's showing up for me? What do I need to tackle the following week? And holding myself accountable for that. So for me, that's really important.
I love that. That is really good.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yay.
Okay. I was afraid. I'm like, mic test, mic test. Well, I think I can answer both. So I'm Mistilei. I'm from Campground TBD Publishing. I help, like Raschell, I help people spread their words, their messages in writing if they want to be published. I also help people use writing to reach goals through sobriety, weight loss, body changes. And LaChelle has 10 kids at home. I have about 200 animals that can hear me right now. So I'll be on mute for a lot of it. And for me, being able to scale my business is being able to get through these kind of things and grow my business. So I'm going to mute. I love you both. I'll be here.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and bring our guest on. We've got one guest that's in the green room, I guess is what I would call it, when we're trying to log on. Don't know what's going on with the technology, but we're going to bring the two guests that are here on and give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. This is great because we have less guests, so we get to dive a little bit more into each of us that are here and hear more about what is their passion. So we'll start with you, Jen, and then we'll go over to Cheryl. But go ahead and introduce yourself and share, what does scaling mean to you?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm Jen Carpenter. I actually come from a health and wellness background, but began a new journey into entrepreneurship 3 years ago. Kind of stumbled upon the services that I offer, but it made sense for my family and other business owners and entrepreneurs that had a passion for starting and growing a business. So I help take the worry and stress out of getting a business going and running a business by being able to have affordable access to on-demand access to attorneys in all areas of law to help with everyday issues and unexpected problems that come up in life and business, and also be able to help a business owner offer benefits to their employees with legal and identity protection to help the employees that they care about. So a business owner can protect their business and stand out from their competition to be able to offer benefits at no cost to the employer. For entrepreneurship and how to scale. So I really got more serious about my business last fall when I decided to work with a business coach, and also have had some other great opportunities that have come along the way in the way of mindset coaching this year. So scaling means to me, like she said, about first of all, like habits and productivity. So working on scheduling, really knowing where you're spending your time, learning that, and really getting down to the nitty gritty. And staying consistent. So if you're networking 2 hours a week, you should be able to meet, and have quantifiable, numbers related to that. So I'm going to meet with 2 or 3 people after that networking group and set up a one-to-one, and doing that consistently. And like she said, too, looking back at the week of what went well, am I meeting my goals of how many people I want to meet with this week? Where do I need to make adjustments? Whether that's virtual networking, in-person networking, all of those things, and putting yourself out there to hold yourself accountable too. I have a video that I was supposed to release last week and I didn't. I put it out there to try to hold myself accountable and I failed on that one. But most other times I'm like, well, it is what it is. I'll get it out there and, doing my best to hold myself accountable in many other ways. It happens here and there. Life happens. So nonetheless, I agree with all of those things. So those are just some of my ideas and thoughts.
Love that. I'm so glad that you're here today. And, it sounds like we've got a common theme going here with consistency and some of the other great things that you mentioned. So I love the whole part about the quantifiable actions that we should take. So I love that. All right. So Cheryl, over to you, introduction. And what are your thoughts about scaling your business?
So excited about this. I am just starting to take my next step of becoming my own entrepreneur. I have so many years of team building, project management. I'm a certified project manager. I work for a very successful environmental science firm. Love what I do, love the networking, love working with the people that I am. But I am, as an author and writer and someone who is invested in building teams, just hashtag a little better, I am seeing the need to go out and be that entrepreneur that I've never really wanted to do because I focus on risk management and I had the plan, right? I had the spreadsheet that had the pros and the cons, the costs and everything. And I said, okay, once I have it planned out, once I have the strategy, once I have the funding dollars, then I'm going to go ahead and do it. And the way that I am learning to scale is actually through working with Mistilei on Now What, the best-selling book, by the way, and contributing there. One thing that I noticed is that scaling your business some of the time means you step back from what you think is the plan and you let something else take over. And so once I started letting that other take over, whatever that other is for you, for me, it's a deity, but for others, it might be something else. Once I started hearing in my head, you need to have a business. You need to take this seriously. You need to go out there and really do this and say and claim it, and I will make it happen. That's what I started learning, really helped me with scaling my business.
Love that. I love that. And, I think also with scaling is also the freedom for things that were not planned. So you mentioned Now What, and let's see, we've got Raschell, myself, and Misty, and you that are part of that book collaboration. And, I remember when it went international best-selling author, I was telling my kids, and then when I got the hard copy that came in, I was like, this is another book that I was a part of. And they're like, what? You did another book? And because it wasn't something that I had even planned to do, but being open for that growth that happened just, with it not being a part of a plan. So I think, having those opportunities and being present enough to see them in real time, I think that's also important when we think about scaling. So we have Paul, who is here with us. And one of the things that he says is about having systems and being duplicatable. And I mean, I couldn't agree with that enough. Raschell and I were talking before everybody arrived, and she's like, yeah, I was telling her how my husband and I went to Indiana and Kentucky just on a whim to spend some time with our moms for Mother's Day. And so we rode there pretty much, 10 hours there, 10 hours back in order to be back with our own kids on Mother's Day. And I said, I did something a little crazy. And she said, well, I'm thinking you might be crazy because you're everywhere. You're on Clubhouse, you're on this. And one of the things that helps me with that he mentions here is being duplicatable and having systems. So, what type of systems I think is a good question to kind of ponder, that you have in place with your business that helps with scaling. So,
If you don't mind, I'll go because I have a moment where nothing is making noise in the background. So, what I like, and I think this works for a lot of things, but in business as well, is, and Cheryl kind of led to this too. Do you want it to be as big as your imagination, or do you want it to be even bigger than your imagination? And so using your daily journal, that consistent practice of writing about where you believe your business is going, because you can't just scale income or just scale employees or just scale clients. It's all going to scale at the same time. And so you want to make sure that you've imagined what that looks like, rather than just thinking my goal is $1 million or my goal is 100 clients, because that's going to mean some things. And so I use the daily journaling. It just, assuming that everything goes exactly as I planned right now, what would I be doing tomorrow? And apparently that's my quiet time. So just writing consistently daily about the next step, assuming that current limitation is gone. Yeah, there we are. E-I-E-I-O.
I love that.
I think that's really good what she's saying, writing. And also, as I said earlier, I think taking the steps. So doing a little bit every day towards what you want to see. So, for example, if someone wants to lose weight, or they want to be fitter, it's taking that moment, to, in their business, whatever it looks like. So if it's getting up a little bit earlier, to say, writing in your journal what you want to do for the day, what you want to get done, what you want to highlight, get all the stuff that is kind of the icky stuff that you don't want to deal with out of the way first. So then you feel more open to do what you want to do. So it's taking the action, I think, is also very important in my eyes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I would agree that action is so important. For me, I tended to be very straight and narrow with everything and have a checklist. And one of the things that I had to do was let go. And I created a whole wall. I painted it just so I could draw on it my vision. And that was freeing, is to be able to say, whatever you draw is going to be the reality. So from time to time, my system is going back to that wall where I have a tree with branches, and each branch is another thing that I see is putting together into the whole piece of the puzzle. It's freeing to allow yourself to say, I used to do things this way, but now I'm learning that my system is changing, and I'm going to acquiesce to that. I'm going to let go and just let it happen and be grateful that I got the message and I'm listening to it now at 52 versus when at 25 I was being told, I don't have the strength. I have too much to do. And now I'm just kind of like, sure, whatever you want me to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Love that.
I'd like to touch on a little bit of what each of you said, with operating with intention, whether you start your day with journaling or ending your day with journaling, knowing where you're spending your time and what your intention is with each activity. So for me, that goes back to habits and productivity, working on your schedule the day before, knowing exactly what your day is looking like the next day, mapping it all out, and knowing what the outcome of each, hour you spend is, and really looking at where you're spending your time. So that's one of the most helpful things for me. I need to find more time, and we can't get it, right? So that goes into having systems and processes in place. So as I want to be able to, post all over three different platforms of social media, how do I really have enough time to engage with all of the people there? So figuring out a system to put in place for that as I'm growing. I can post on 3 platforms, but do I have enough time in a day? Do I really want to spend enough time in a day to engage with everybody there? So whether that be, a CRM that helps you with messaging, or whatever it may be to assist you and free up time for tasks that you really need to be spending your time on with income producing activities. So, and the vision part too, I wanted to, some people have talked about like a 3-year vision, a 5-year vision that I've learned from different people, but really believing in it and looking, for one, your story matters, and believing on the path that you're on, that, what you're doing is working, inching your way towards that each day. So building that vision out, what do you really want your life to look like 3 years from now? And kind of reverse engineer it of, I want to work 25 hours a week to be able to spend this much time with my family, or whatever it may be to get there. So really having that vision in place. I love the idea of having a wall painted in front of you, but whatever way that is for you to be reminded of that on a daily basis, whether it's your, affirmations that you use, or gratitude that you look back on. Those are the most important things. Putting yourself first as well. Most people who are very successful and entrepreneurs, they spend an hour or two of their day taking care of themselves first, looking at their intention, their gratitude, all of those things, and then stepping into the day that they have scheduled out, and spending where their time where they're most needed, and what's the most important time to spend on those activities.
I love that. One of the things that you said that was very important, or just stuck out to me, was engagement. And so hey, Mary's on, and she says, where's your focus? Are you taking care of what's important first? And a lot of people miss that point. I think for me, engagement is important, because having those comments that you mentioned, we had someone who was a guest on our show. She made a comment before the show. She got on the show. She stayed after, and now she was a part of a book collaboration that was international bestseller. So, what are some important things to remember about engagement? And I love how you said, you're on all these different platforms, but you don't have that time to engage. I think a lot of people miss that. They think, well, the trend is to be on TikTok, on Instagram, and all these high profile places. But, what does that engagement look like? So what are some ways or some tips that you would share about engagement? We'll start with you, Jen, since you brought that up, and then go around.
As I am growing, I looked into just having maybe like a VA or a social media manager help you be able to just manage across the profiles. I'm not moving forward with it at this time, but really then too, looking at the platforms. Do you want to spend all your time and energy on LinkedIn and YouTube or Instagram? What platforms are the best for you to be on? And, those are maybe some options of how to manage your social media. Also, scheduling is super helpful. I hadn't really used Hootsuite very much before, but like taking the time to be able to schedule your posts, like one less thing to do. I've just been using the LinkedIn scheduler most recently to schedule my post in advance. That's working really well for me. And I know you can do that on YouTube, I believe, as well. So just using little tools like that to schedule and manage the social media that way. But engagement, though, you want to connect with everybody, comment with everybody. It's all about, putting value out there with your content, and then engaging with everybody to the best of your ability on all your posts, whether it be whatever platform you're on, and making those connections, from there, as to, whether it's nice to have a one-to-one and, support each other whatever way you can after that through the engagement.
That was
amazing.
great. That was good. Go ahead, Misty.
I love what you said. And I wanted to just kind of go on what you were saying about using those tools. One of the things I find, especially with one-on-one clients, when I'm not great at multitasking across multiple platforms. So I really have to, when I'm trying to help someone else manage that, I have to really be mindful of my own time. And so we call it always be at the lake. So when you're on social media, be mindful of how much time you're on social media and how much time you're really engaging with what your alignment is, what your purpose is. And so it's easy to get on there and go, I'm going to talk to 4 people today about an upcoming book I have coming out, because I would like to get this many authors. But then I get on and I'm just, look, Cheryl's got a birthday party today. So then I'm counting it as engagement time, but I'm not. So for me, I had to get really honest about helping my rabbit brain stay engaged for the purpose. The second thing is, another tool that LaChelle is the master at is the collaboration, not being afraid to be the new kid on the block, not being afraid to say, hey, how did you publish? How did you get a LinkedIn? How did you get your banner to look like that? They're either going to say, I paid this much money and I hired this person, or I can help you, or I don't remember. But just ask the question and be willing to be the student, because that means we get to go past what we already know. So what a fascinating place to just realize, okay, I've met my limit. Now I get to learn from everyone else. So being willing to reach out and collaborate with other people who are already doing what you're aspiring for.
I think those are all really great points. One thing I'd like to add, and I do this sort of, I'd say probably 5 to maybe 6 days a week, is I will spend between 8 to 10 minutes on social media, where I will literally go in and do the things that I need to do, which is say the happy birthdays, connect, and then I'm off. And I'm like, no, then I put the phone down and I do my other stuff, because like Misty said, you can get down the rabbit hole of answering birthday parties, and you're talking to this person, and you're like, and all of a sudden you're suddenly, 20 minutes later, you're going, oh my gosh, my time went away. So I think it's really important to just be very specific and understand the algorithms as well, knowing that if you just connect with a few people, especially on Instagram and Facebook, you already bring them into your feed. So I'm very precise on that, because I've done like she's done. I've spent 20 minutes and then realized what a waste. So it is being very, sort of mindset of, this is what I need to do, and then get off and go about your day.
Love that. And we have JR, who is able to join us now. We've had tech issues today, so welcome to the family. Okay.
Thank
You're
you.
fitting right in, girl. Okay.
Oh,
So
what's going on?
So introduce yourself and share whatever you want to share so far. I'm sure you've kind of been with us in spirit the whole time. So
I sure have.
over to you.
Well, hello, ladies. Hello, everyone who has decided to join us today. I appreciate the invite to be here. And yes, technical difficulties are just, beyond me. I am a How Money Works educator. I'm in the finance profession. I've been so for, I usually just tell people 10 years. It's been much, 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 much longer than that. I'll, give my age away. We won't go there. And I know today's topic is about scaling. I did hear a little bit about what was being said, the collaborating and things of that nature, going on LinkedIn, saying happy birthday. And yes, I have found myself going down that rabbit hole at times as well. So I have to click that button. And for things like that, I've learned that if we block our time, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on social media, I'm going to spend 20 minutes doing this and what have you, that kind of helps us. As far as scaling our business, as entrepreneurs, there's so many things that we really need to be doing. And of course, it's very important to have a plan. What exactly is it you're looking to do, and how are you going to go about doing so when you're scaling your business? I think it's important that we collaborate, we network. I think it's important that we have a team that sees the same vision or understands the vision of what it is that we're trying to do, so that we are able to expand and to scale. You need your mentor, you need your business coach. Do research. What's out there? What's going on in society? Artificial intelligence is becoming huge. How can you utilize that to help scale your business? I had something on the tip of my tongue and it escapes me, but I think it's important that we think about those things and how we're going to go about doing it. It's very important, very important. And you know what? Listening to conversations like this, tagging yourself on these lives. That's how I met Michelle, because I was on a live with someone else. And I've had so many great women reach out to connect with me and start following me, and vice versa. And it's just been great. It allows me to scale my business. Matter of fact, I met a gentleman listening to one of these same events here, and he helps young men in Wisconsin. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, how can I add value to what you're doing? Well, I will now, board approval, be the financial literacy piece for his organization for these young men. That's another way to help scale. Thank you. Another way to help scale. But we should give Michelle that applause. because it was because I tagged myself onto one of these that I was able to do that. So it's just reaching out, asking questions. How can you add value? Don't always be looking to make that sale or what have you. You know, what can you do to help your community?
Absolutely.
Love
I love
that.
that.
I think it's so important to remember that humanistic approach is as part of what I do in my world of team building and risk management and project management and those kind of things. My philosophy is Ubuntu, which is basically the philosophy that we are all part of this human experience and we're all here to help each other through that experience. So when I look at how to engage, I want to find the time to reach people and talk to people, but make sure that it's a valuable conversation. If I have 10, 15 minutes to talk to someone, I want to talk to them at a heart to heart level and not a sale level. And I think that's what's kept me with clients and that's kept me with sales and it's kept me with revenue, of course. But more importantly, I have so many people that I've worked with for 20 plus years. Because I like to say the name right. I've had people that I've worked with for so many years because they're like, she's interested in me. She's not interested in how much product I can sell, but
Mhm.
really truly in me. And I think that genuine authenticity speaks wonders. Another thing that I wanted to mention when you're looking at trying to help each other with engage is being okay with getting help. I know for me, my system is I hired a personal assistant. And that assistant takes care of my engagements, my write backs, my at least those beginnings of conversations when someone writes me and they say, hey, I'd love for you to write this for me, or I'd love for you to be on this collaboration, or I'd love to hire you to speak to talk about risk management for this thing. I actually have a social scheduler that takes care of that for me.
Awesome.
And I used to think back in that term of lack, oh, I don't have the money for it. And now in this place of wealth, of increase, I'm like, I don't have a place not to have this. So it just works out. It just works out. And she's been with me for a year, and I don't know what I would do without her. So
That's beautiful.
I love that. That's some good stuff. So we have Paul who is talking about this automation. Now for me, I love automation with certain things because
Right.
you know, you guys have seen it just the messages getting here for today for the show. You know,
Mhm.
it's the same message everybody gets, you know, about your bio or headshot or whatever. So I think there's some things that it really is a benefit and it helps you do things in real time. If you've had me introduce you to somebody, it's the same message, you know, we're pertinent to whatever the introduction is about. So, what are you guys' thoughts about automation? And even now, we're thinking about, you know, AI, Chat GBT, and all this other stuff. What are your thoughts about automation?
as someone who works in environmental sciences and also software over the years, I am excited about automation. I'm excited about artificial intelligence. But as I tell my team, I always want to have the ethics and the moral value behind it. That's very important to me. So if I'm going to use Chat GPT to write up a summary or a proposal for a book, I, in my own ethics, has to make sure that it's a tool and not something that is going to take over for me. I think that there's that human approach that artificial intelligence should and never will have. I know that there's a lot of different discussions on that, but for me, I use it as a tool just as I use my laptop or just as I use my phone. And I think it's important to have that human connection still be part of the overall guiding principles.
Love that.
I
That's
completely agree. I think it's just there. Um, I honestly have used Chat GPT twice. And I had one of the young people, one of my church sons, introduce me to it. And yesterday I did a Zoom call out to Cameroon because I have some youth out there that I have just been pulled into, educating them about finances. And all I did was just type in talking points. I don't use it to write per se anything for me. I'm just like, just give me a few ideas, keep me on track for what I have to do. I agree with Paul regarding automation, and I definitely agree with LaChelle. I think that automation has its place. It's good for sending out your emails, reminders, things of that nature. But everything else that we do, it definitely needs that human touch, that hug verbally from ourselves when we're communicating with others. Because artificial intelligence can't tell a person, I love you, or I care about you, or I'm very interested in what it is you have to say. We need to just keep that in mind, because we can get, how do you say, pulled away from the human aspect of the things that we do.
I think it goes back to the systems and processes too. So obviously everything you guys have said, being personalized, but using it as a tool when appropriate is, definitely where it's at. But having systems and processes of, for example, I'm working with more business owners now and servicing their account for their employee benefits. So having, email templates, so things are easier to do for all the different types of, and like LaChelle is saying as well. So I'm starting to use that sort of stuff more, with having a template and a system and process for each way I'm servicing these accounts. So same kind of concept, if you will, with everything, just keeping the personal touch.
You guys there? LaChelle, are you there?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
to say, now Mary says something too. One AI will take any length of video, break it into Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn posts. So I thought that was good. This is back to the duplication or compounding time, because Paul mentioned that earlier as well. So when you think about, what are some ways that we can compound time where it's beneficial? I think when we think about scaling, a lot of times people get caught up in the quantity rather than the quality. So how do you focus on making sure that is not an issue? When you think about scaling, you're talking about duplicating, you're talking about compounding time. What are some non-negotiables that you believe are important to be mindful of as you scale your business?
I got something I'd like to say. We call it always being at the lake, so that what the most activities that you're doing are always taking you to that goal. And so if my goal is to be in some type of service environment, then I want to make sure that as many of my friends are in that kind of frequency, as many of the people I'm collaborating with on LinkedIn are in that frequency. And I can have all these great 5,000 followers, but if we're not in alignment, then I'm kind of spinning my wheels and I'm not using the best time of my engagement. But like this, I'm looking at this screen right here. I've worked with most of you differently because we engage together. We know our alignment. I'm not spinning out to 50 different people. I can call LaChelle and go, who do you know? Because her network is tight. We know where we excel. We know who's great at what. And that gives me all the time in the world. I don't have to go learn every new skill. I can call and say, who do you know is amazing at Canva? Bam. And we have it. And that gives me exponential more time. So just making sure your group is tight, and that you honor it, that you bring your skill, like you said earlier, you bring your skills to the table too and go, I'm really good at this. What do you got? Let's trade, So just finding your people.
Yeah, that goes back to building a strong team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Absolutely. I know for me, because I work with risk management, project management, team building, I do the same, where I kind of say, I don't know about this, but if anyone wants to have me come and speak about risk management, I'll be happy to swap for that. And I think that that's a great tool that we can use as initial entrepreneurs, or even probably established. But I know for me, I'm leaning really hard into that, of just being able to say, hey, what can I do to bargain or swap or replicate the success that you've had? And what can I learn from that through that networking? So that's all very important. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
When I'm networking, I'm always going to make at least 1 to 3 introductions of someone that I could connect someone to, whether that be a key referral partner, a resource they might need for their business, whether it's what I offer or not. And also being able to just provide value in whatever way that I can when I'm networking. So, again, collaborating with these types of events. So this is my first time doing something like this. I recently started a video conversations with someone, another female entrepreneur, just talking about real talk of entrepreneurship, being a parent in entrepreneurship, learning, whether it be sales, relationship building. So we released this topic once a month. So that was just something new that I started a couple months ago. And then also, same kind of thing. I want to provide other resources to business owners. So I started having conversations with some other people in my network to let people know about the resources they provide. So that is my goal with everything that I do, networking, one-to-ones, that I'm going to connect people to the resources, whether it's my content, adding value, little by little stepping into video and doing all of these things with collaborations and all of this stuff to help more people. So yeah, it all goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah.
I think also another great point is sometimes we need to just play a little. We have all these systems and things that we do, but at the same time, I think it's really important we kind of have that time to do what we want to do as entrepreneurs or with our families, and just be present with the moment and doing those things. Because I also find when you're in those amazing moments, whether it's with friends or family or by yourself, or you're painting or you're walking or whatever you're with, some really amazing ideas will show up to kind of move you in the direction that you want to go. So I think honoring yourself at the same time and playing is a very important part of scaling your business, right?
Love that. I mean, you guys have said some great things, and I think this is something that Paul brings up about the chat GBT, but also, one of the things about scaling is wanting to get to the next level. You want to grow, you want your business to bring in more money per month, or you want to sell more products or whatever. But, we can get caught up in those metrics, being the driver. And sometimes we can connect with people that we think might be able to help us. So he says something here about when we're not sure about a topic, we tend to think that sometimes the people talking about them are the expert. So we can fall into that trap of thinking, well, they know more than me, and they must be telling me what's right because they're able to speak on this topic and I can't. So, as we are winding down the hour, what are some ways that we can protect ourselves, or use a little bit more wisdom and insight when it comes to you're in a place where you want to scale up, you want to get a coach, or you want to get a program or whatever that is? What are some ways or some things that we should be mindful of before we go ahead and move forward with that? Because I think there is power in investing in yourself and mastering things and getting more knowledgeable about things, and that does take an investment. But how do you know what you should and shouldn't be investing in, or who you should and shouldn't be investing in?
I'm excited about this because I've been thinking about the whole time falling down those rabbit holes and losing your time. So not having shiny object syndrome, but spending your time. For example, I'm going to be using a new CRM. I had to look into what option I wanted, but when I knew that I was going to look at it, I said, okay, I'm only going to take 15 minutes to take a look at this, enroll for what I need, and that's it. I'm not going to sit there and play around with it right now. I'm not ready to move forward. So making sure that you're not chasing those shiny objects and falling down the rabbit holes. I definitely think that you need space to be creative too, and have these conversations be collaborative, so that we can enjoy that free space and be creative together too when you have that time for those specific activities or your family, like you said. But yeah, definitely sticking to very strict schedules, quantifiable measurements, to make sure that you're not losing time where you don't need to be. We can't get our time back. So
I love this topic about, I really do love the shiny syndrome, the shiny object syndrome. I've definitely fallen for that a couple of times. I want to mention that one thing that I do to make sure that I'm focused on who is the expert is I'll share a really quick story. When I was having a biopsy done for, I thought my doctors had thought that we were going towards something that was going to be a breast cancer or something like that. We had second opinion, right? When I first came in, I had my initial mammography. Then after that, then I talked with the radiologist. Then after that, I talked with the actual the biopsy doctor that looked at the results from there. I think that as we look at these experts, we reach out to our network and we say, hey, I have an opinion. I want to find out, have you worked with? What has your experience been? So many of us, we love having a great network, but I know I'm guilty of not really asking that network about someone I'm going to engage business with, right? And I think that's something that I know and that I'm hearing is something that I will strive to do more and more of.
I would have to agree with you. Most definitely, we want to ask other people, well, have you worked with so and so and what have you? Quick story. Young lady referred a gentleman to do her cousin's floors, and she took that referral from someone else. Neither one of them had ever worked with the gentleman, and it turned out that he was lousy. And so the cousin who used him first truly didn't relay that message to the cousin who referred him. Everybody spent about 15 grand on a floor. Yes. That we ended up having to do again. And I'm saying to myself, where's the communication here? We have to not be afraid to say, hey, I had a bad experience with this person. It may work out well for you. Talk with them, but see if they can actually do what it is that you need to be done. They have Angie's List. So get out there and ask these professionals, when you're looking to collaborate, to network, to scale, to expand, to move forward, to get to the next level. Well, who is in your industry that has already done that? I heard a story where a young man wanted to talk to someone and he just went to the person. How much does it cost to take you to lunch? Something along that line. So instead of wasting that millionaire's time, they went to lunch, they sat down, they talked specifically about what it was he needed. So you can search for people who will actually give you the information you need to help you scale to where you need to be going. You look for people in that industry. You look for someone who's walked in your steps, because history, literally, from the beginning of time, just repeats itself. There's no change. There's absolutely no change. We are just more advanced with technology and everything is out there. There's no change. So just go find that person that can do what you have not done and hook up with them. Get that education. It may cost you lunch, may cost you dinner. Have $1,000 in your pocket so you can go to that fancy restaurant and buy an hour of their time. Take good notes. Record it.
Take opportunity wherever you can find it. Look for the opportunity in everything that you come across.
That's right.
Love that. These were some great takeaways. And Paul shares his. He says he has 3 requirements before he invests in a mentor or community. They give him free advice and information that he can win with. They are willing to have a call to answer questions or learn more about them. And their core values and their mission and vision are somewhat aligned. Most people don't make it past that first. And I think, the important thing with this is having a system, right? A set of requirements. Some of us don't have that, so you're kind of like tossed to and fro depending on your mood you're in. If you're in a good mood, you're all excited, you want to collaborate. If you're not in a good mood, then it's like, you against the world with a lot of people. And taking that time to kind of plan, how do you want to show up? Having your set of standards or requirements, I think, are so important. So this has been a great conversation. And I know we can go in so many different directions, but I think one of the things that really stands out for me with scaling is that it is every day. I make connections every day. I make introductions every day because you don't want to be in a situation to where, you have a timeline or something is due and you're trying to drum up business or whatever. You never want to be in that situation with that kind of energy. So it's something that if you do it just a little bit every day, you always have um, an arsenal of
Right.
people, of resources, of inventory, whatever that looks like. So that's one of the things that kind of stands out for me. So want to go around and share our final thoughts because it's just an hour just is not enough time. And give you guys the opportunity to share, where do you hang out most? Where can people get a hold of you? And if you have anything coming up that we can support you with. So we'll start with you, Cheryl. Share your final thoughts, where we can get a hold of you, and if you have anything that you would like to promote.
I am so excited to be part of this panel. So thank you, LaChelle, for being, for reaching out and allowing me to be on this panel, and for all of the ladies that have been on this panel. Thank you so much. I've learned so much. One thing that I look at is, where do I hang out most? I tend to stay on LinkedIn quite a bit as I am new and just building my business. I believe in hashtag a little better. I believe in small changes that bring tremendous results, right? And that's where I start. I have a new book that I'm writing that is on end of life journey, and it is dedicated to those that have passed on and little steps that you can make to make that end of life journey more approachable, more accessible, some of the time humorous, some of the time it's journaling, some of the time it's just telling people that if you're gone, this is how the cat likes to be fed. So that's what my book is about. It's called The Avocado Binder, and I will have it ready in 2025.
Love that. My daughter comes in that, they're not afraid of the camera. So it's like, hey, this is what's going on with me. Let me let you know. Okay, so we're over to you. Well, Jen.
Go ahead. I'm here. My kids are homesick today, but they're being very loud in the background. I want to throw in here, if you're ever going to hire someone or move forward with like a service, you always want to talk to their former clients or someone that's used the service before, with what you were talking about before with moving forward with any investments, if you will. So I mostly am on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to connect with anyone here on LinkedIn. And I have a YouTube channel, Jen Secure and Savvy Solutions. I'm putting out those videos I spoke of. The first beginning of the month is with Sarah Petrahita and I, just having those conversations about entrepreneurship. The end of the month, my next one coming up is with Ruben Swartz that I recorded about his anti-CRM. So for solo consultants who love relationship building but hate selling. So my next video as a resource to entrepreneurs is coming up at the end of the month. So yeah, I do a little bit on Instagram, Facebook, not as much. Mostly I focus on trying to stay present on LinkedIn and building on YouTube. That's a newer part of my journey recently. So if you can take a hop over there to subscribe to my channel, that would be great. And yes, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Really learned a lot and just enjoyed sharing value to the best of my ability with everyone here today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And I feel like, I'm in your house because my kids do the same thing when I'm live. They just, my one daughter who sings, she's not here today, but earlier she was singing. My husband was like, can you be quiet? But yeah, that's just part of it. But thank you so much for being here, Jen, and excited for all that you have going on. So wishing you much success. So over to you, JR.
Whew. I'm all over the place. I mean, so much so, this is off topic, but my phone number, my whole life is out there. I've had ex-boyfriends locate me from high school. I kid you not. I said, wait a minute. Someone reached out to me from my sister also. I texted them back. I said, oh, so much for leaving your number out there on the internet. But anyway, that lets you know I am literally Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. But the question was, where do you hang out? I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn the majority of the time. And I do Facebook. I would say all three, really. Twitter is every now and then. Projects that I have coming up. I will do more posting on LinkedIn, but I do a lot of Zoom classes regarding financial education. My specific target is really single parents, families in general. Our organization is trying to reach 1 million families, and next month I'm doing a budgeting class for this ladies organization. I do a lot of speaking with my youth in Cameroon, and we use a lot of the WhatsApp because their internet connection is really bad there. We see one of your little people over there. And let's see here. Speaking to a lot of church organizations. Just, reach out to me. I'm open for just about anything. I have no problem doing Zoom classes, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is another way of scaling your business. So connect with LaChelle and, see what's going on. And let's just follow one another and encourage one another. And thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. Paul got a kick out of your sharing about the ex-boyfriends.
Two of them. No, three of them. Three of them.
Wow. That's a lot of
just
fun.
let you know I'm a good woman.
I know it. Look, they
My
want
husband got a good one.
I know that's right. That's good stuff. Well, this has just been wonderful. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And we hope you'll come back, and we encourage everybody, whether you're watching us now live or on the replay, to connect with them. This is what scaling is all about, connecting with people that are in their zone of genius and having that conversation so that we can help each other grow and continue to move forward in our businesses. So thank you, ladies, so much for being here. And we appreciate all that you have shared, and we are wishing you much success in all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So this was really a great conversation. And I think a lot of times, it takes being intentional to talk about these type of topics. So I think it might be quiet where you're at, Misty. So I'm going to ask you, what's your takeaway from today?
Well, I love the show, and I actually got to hear all of it, so that was great. There was a lot going on. I love what they were talking about as the tools. It's the small daily practices. I have the book coming out that we're putting together right now. We're actually compiling authors, called My 2 Cents, and it's basically about those little tidbits that's where all the value gets, and just being able to say to someone, let's work together, and knowing that. And you asked about how do I know who I want to work with, and it's for me knowing myself well enough to know my secrets to my success, and does that person align with where I'm heading and where my secrets to success are. Because if I'm very success leaves clues, like she was talking about, it's all a pattern. And so that's helped me a lot. It's just really being honest about where I'm at, what I am successful at, and then I know where I need to pick to come in. And of course, I always use writing for that. And you can reach me. Are we ready for that? Reach me at? Okay, Misty Lee. If the spelling Misty Lee, I'm pretty much Googleable there. But Mistilei Wriston, Campground TBD Publishing. If you're interested in putting a published piece together, like what these amazing ladies. It was such a surprise to see Cheryl here. I didn't know she was going to be on today, and I worked with her in the past book, and her avocado binders she was speaking about is an incredible project that she's putting together. So if you're interested in writing, you can reach me at campgroundtbd@gmail.com, or my name as it's written there on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Awesome.
That's me. How about you, Raschell?
For me, the takeaways, oh my God, there were so many, but it was good. It was a good conversation because it really gave me some insight. If you notice, I was taking lots of notes. I was like, these are things I need to do because I've kind of been riding this wave of, what's the next steps? Where am I going? And just kind of surfing through it. So today was a good conversation because it gave me a lot of sort of insight as to, the people you need to talk to, people you maybe don't want to have those conversations with. And as I said before, making sure that you're getting up every day and taking small steps, those actions, whatever it looks like for you, whether it's dreaming, manifesting it that way, or if it's writing it out, or if it's physically taking the action, whatever it is. So good conversation, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think, we have to be intentional about this. It's a part of, nothing is linear. That's what I say. It's not always A, B, C. You sometimes get, 5 steps forward and then just 1 step and then 10, so you just never know. So it is important to be intentional and think about these things because, I love what Jen mentioned. You can be on all these different social media platforms, but then people fall through the cracks because you can't go back and engage with them.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you've created a following, but what is it for if you can't go back and get in contact with the people who are supporting you? So I think that is really important to think about when it comes to scaling, because you could be so focused on the numbers and the quality goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and knowing why you want to scale, that's so important. Knowing why you want to scale, because I've scaled for the wrong reasons for decades. And now I scale for very different reasons. So that helps.
So true. Well, do you guys have anything happening this week?
I have a podcast. I'm actually really excited to speak with her. I don't know if she's on LinkedIn, Pat Rogue. She was a really amazing lady who I met, 5-6 years ago. We used to do a lot together. And she's going to share her story. She ended up having a brain tumor and making her way through it and coming out on the other side.
Wow.
So really excited to share her story. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. What about you, Misty?
Author selection. We'll be finishing up that this week. The author selection for My 2 Cents. I think we're going to have 7 heavy LinkedIn people that are going to be participating in that book, and then we're working on merging the social media platform.
Love that.
But that's what we'll be working on this week.
Love that.
And you, my dear?
For me, it is physical things. So I have my 5th grader who's graduating on Friday. My senior has a senior walk where they walk through the halls of the elementary, the middle, and then the high school for graduation. Just this traditional thing they do. And then, so that's really all I've got. But, with daughters, it's like, I need an outfit for this. I need to have this for this, So it's a financial week, keeping it real. Okay. Never know what's going to come up. But really excited for, we're getting close to the end of the school year. My kids actually get out of school next Friday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they'll be out for, then everybody moves to the next level. So I'm excited about that, made it through another year. I can breathe, So, but again, we want to thank all of you guys for joining us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, any insights that you would like to add, or you just simply want to be a guest on the show. And we thank you again for your time. And so we look forward to seeing you guys all on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.